Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order our August 17th, 2021. It is 3:02 p.m. canvassing board meeting for the August 3rd, 2021 primary election. I am canvassing board member Julie Wise, your King County Director of Elections. With me on today's call via Zoom, and we're also live on Facebook, I have canvassing board member Kevin Wright, our Chief Civil Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, and Janine Y, our Acting Chief of Staff and Director of Operations to the King County Council. We are staffed today by Geraldine Hampton, our Ballot Processing Manager. This meeting again is being live streamed via the King County Elections Facebook page and is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after this meeting. Geraldine Hampton, please provide us with an update and overview of this primary election.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Before we go into the summary of the election, we have some challenged ballots that I'd like to present to the board. We'll start with the mail ballot challenges. It's item E-4000. There's 8,239 mail ballot challenges that I'm presenting for rejection.
I move that we reject those ballots.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, second item is our provisional ballot challenges. So we didn't have actual real provisional ballots. These are ballots that were accessed via our online ballot marking portal from voters who are not eligible to have a ballot counted. So we received 13 of those for this election and we're unable to count them. So I'm presenting PV-8000 for rejection.
I move that we reject those ballots as well.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. Now we can turn to the summary of our primary election. So going into this primary and election, we were thinking we would likely hit 40% turnout, hoping to take advantage of some of the engagement we had at the end of last year. We ended up only getting to 35% turnout for this primary. Not too bad though. It looks as though we just actually went back to the patterns we had in previous like type elections. So we were at 35.1% in like 2019 primary. And then I think it was 33% right around there in the 2017 primary and election. So for us, that meant return ballots nearing 500,000. We only got to 493,554 to get exact. So medium size election for us in King County. Our voter registration totals passed 1.41 million. So we're close to 1.412 million registered voters. So we'll start with some activity we had going on in our vote center locations. So we had 6 locations open for this election where people could show up in person, register to vote, change their voter registration information, and also get a replacement ballot and so on. We had 6 locations open. We were able to register 150 new voters, which is awesome. We completed almost 200 updates and transfers, and then we issued a whopping 600 ballots for folks to vote on and use their voice in this election. Turning attention to Dropbox returns, we had all 73 Dropbox locations open since it was a countywide election. Our Dropbox totals came to almost 251,000 and ended up being actually 51% of our total returns. So Dropbox beat out the USPS returns by just a smidge. We received over half, we received almost 60%, I'm sorry, just over 60% of all of our Dropbox returns showed up on election day, thanks to those late voters. And then our most utilized box for this election was no surprise, it was Ballard Library. That box got almost 13,000 returns, and then a distant second was Redmond City Hall. That location only had around 8,000 returns. If we look to challenges now, So those groups of challenges we just took care of a minute ago. We ended up this election with under 8,300 mail ballot challenges. Of those challenges, over half, it was 56% were returned too late. So there's no cure process. We are unable to count ballots who were that were returned too late. We only had 3,600 signature challenges remaining at the end of the election, which is still under 1%. It was 0.7% of total returns. And then half of voters who initially had a signature challenge actually responded with the cure process. And that allowed us to then resolve their signature issue. Provisional ballots, as I mentioned previously, we didn't get any real life provisional ballots, but if we receive ballots that are generated from the voter and those voters are not eligible to have their ballot counted, those are to be treated as provisionals. So again, we got 13 of those ballots in-house. So voters not being eligible because they are not registered at all. We had one instance of a voter who was still under 17 and therefore unable to participate. So we were unable to count those ballots. Because this was a medium big size election for us, we did hire around 200 temporary staff to help us get through all of our processes, from staffing our phone banks to doing signature verification to closing drop boxes. So we had 200 excellent employees here to help us through. And then observers, there was a lot of engagement this round. So for this primary, I trained 44 new party observers just in the month of July. 44 new people came through to get trained on the process, to be involved, to watch the process. So it was fantastic. We actually had 122 unique visits through our primary election. So that is super exciting. Super exciting to say we are perfectly reconciled. There are no discrepancies. So we're now at election 21 with no issues to report as far as reconciliation wise. And so our next election is right around the corner. It's the November 2nd general election. And our first meeting will be the week after election day. So November 10th at 1:30 will be the meeting where we can actually look at some voter intent ballots and anything else that might crop up in the course of the general election. And that wraps up my summary for you all, the canvassing board.
Congratulations, Geraldine, to you and the staff for another perfectly reconciled election. Nice work.
I second that. Congratulations, Team King County Elections. Fabulous job per usual. No matter how big the size, you all do a fabulous job reconciling the election and making sure that every voter has an opportunity. So thank you all very, very much.
So are we ready for the oath of authenticity?
I am ready for it, sir.
Okay, Julie, I will now read you the oath of authenticity. It reads, King County Director of Elections, Julie Wise, do you solemnly swear that the unofficial returns and supporting documentation of the primary election held on August 3rd, 2021 in King County, State of Washington are true and correct?
I do. The next item is the certification of the canvassing board. It reads, the undersigned officers designated by law as constituting the canvassing board for the County of King, State of Washington, hereby certify that this is a full, true, and correct copy of the abstract of votes, including the number of registered eligible voters, cumulative results, precinct results, and report of votes cast at the primary election held on August 3rd, 2021 in King County, State of Washington. It's like we're getting married. We say, I do together. I do.
I do.
Thank you. Board, Geraldine, thank you so much for all of your work serving the citizens of King County and this election again. Is there any further business for us this afternoon?
I have no further items for the board today.
That means no recounts at this point, but remember that someone could request. I think they have a few days until after certification. Is it 3 days, Geraldine, after certification to make that request?
The end of Thursday, yeah.
End of Thursday. So we will let you know, of course, if we get a recount request. Other than that, we do not have anything that falls into legal range for a recount. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. This meeting is adjourned. It is August 17th, 2021, the certification meeting adjourned at 3:11 p.m.